Tanzania, we have an amazing array of places we call home. But when it comes to interior designing, decorations, and gardening, we don't make the most of the spaces. On the decor, you learn about designs, styles, functions, elegance, and traditions by being inspired from the best in the field to transform your spaces and create more memories. On Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Habari za kila aina kupitia chaneli yetu ya YouTube ITV Tanzania. Cha kufanya, ingia YouTube, halafu tafuta chaneli yetu ITV Tanzania. Usisahau kubonyeza subscribe ili uweze kuunganishwa nasi kwa taarifa zetu zote. Kumbuka pia kuruhusu notification ili ujulishwe kila wakati tunapoweka taarifa mpya. ITV Tanzania, njia pekee ya kuhakikisha hupitwi na habari yoyote.
It's Culinary Delights every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. only on Capital Television.
Diamonds are forever.
In Capital News tonight, consignments of goods at Horohoro border begin to spoil. CCM National Executive Committee discusses preparation plan for the 2020 elections. And in sports, the National Sports Council conduct COVID-19 awareness seminar for sports organizations. This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. Consignments of goods belonging to entrepreneurs from various regions in the country have begun to spoil at Horohoro, which borders Kenya and Tanzania, with drivers facing economic challenges after Kenya disregarded agreements reached recently on coronavirus testing between leaders of the two countries in Arusha.
Tupo siku nyingi, hamna sehemu ya choo, mimi napata shida hata pa kubadilishia nguo, kuoga.
We've been here for many days. There is no basic services like washrooms, and Kenyans don't want us there. They are saying that we have corona.
Sasa unakuta kuna magari mengi hapa, karibu zaidi ya 100 au karibu zaidi ya 90.
There are a lot of vehicles from different parts. They should tell us what exactly is their intention. So we close our border and there is no transportation of goods from either side.
Hali ambayo hipo ni ngumu na ni mbaya sana.
What is going on here is very challenging. Goods meant to enter Kenya are not allowed entry. There are some vehicles on Kenyan sides of which we've asked officers in charge to allow them to cross to Tanzania.
The National Executive Committee of Chama Cha Mapinduzi Party CCM has received and discussed the plan for preparations of the 2020 general elections, where they unanimously agreed on the level of preparations heading towards the general elections and directed that the schedule for the internal nomination of CCM members who want leadership positions be immediately released. The meeting was led by the chairman of the party and president of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. John Magufuli, in Dodoma. Now moving on, the chief whip of CHADEMA party, Tundu Lissu, has expressed his disappointment on continued attacks on leaders and members of CHADEMA party. Tundu Lissu said this when speaking on the recent attack on the leader of the CHADEMA camp in parliament and chairman of Chama Cha Demokrasia na Maendeleo CHADEMA, Freeman Mbowe, by unknown assailants.
Dear citizens, I would like to speak for a few minutes about the attack on the leader of the opposition camp in Parliament, Honorable Freeman Mbowe, who was attacked by 3 unknown people. This attack is amongst a series of attacks against leaders and members of CHADEMA. It is the second attack on a top CHADEMA party leader under similar circumstances. In early February this year, during the commemoration of 43 years of UVCCM, its national leader encouraged its members to attack opposition party leaders, mentioning them by name.
The chairman of NCCR Mageuzi, James Mbatia, has said his party will continue to stand for reconciliation politics and ensuring that Tanzania attains development goals on issues related to the community from the lowest level.
Sasa mkoa wa Arusha ambao ndio unaingiza pato kubwa la kitalii.
Arusha as a region earns the country a lot in foreign currency. There is growth in tourism. If there is growth in tourism, it means women who grow vegetables and sugarcane will be able to sell in local hotels, meaning it will increase individual income. So if there is a lack of peace in Arusha, how will this impact tourism?
Now, the chairman of ACT Wazalendo Maalim Seif Sharif Hamad has pointed out 10 issues which they consider may result in 2020 elections that are not free and fair, which include a lack of an independent electoral commission.
Kwa muundo wake, tume zetu zote mbili, kwa maana ya Tume ya Taifa ya Uchaguzi NEC na Tume ya Uchaguzi ya Zanzibar ZEC, zinaonekana kuwa ni tume za rais badala ya kuwa tume huru za uchaguzi. Mwenyekiti, wajumbe na mkurugenzi wa tume ya taifa ya uchaguzi wanateuliwa na Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano.
The Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism, Dr. Hamis Kigwangalla, has officially launched guidelines for tourism business operations in the country during the COVID-19 pandemic that aim at ensuring tourists who enter the country live safely.
Ni lazima ujumbe wa COVID-19 uwe endelevu, iwe ni agenda ya kudumu.
The message on COVID-19 must be progressive, a permanent agenda. As you discuss the protocol on how to serve, you must also discuss on how to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Because our sector will restart and grow as it did in the past, if there is confidence and that there are no cases of visitors getting infected while visiting Tanzania. As an industry, we sat and decided that this is a time for us to activate domestic market so that domestic tourism can support us during this time. We're waiting for the number of tourists to increase. This is one area as an industry and ministry need to look into on how to address challenges and attract tourists to want to come to Tanzania.
Now, as the government prepares to deliver its 2020-2021 budget on the 1st of June, the 11th of June, some citizens have listed their priorities, which include a plan to help youth become self-employed, as well as ensuring taxes for essential goods such as food are not raised.
Essential goods should be tax exempt, and an increase on tax should be on non-essential items. Women, small traders should be educated on tax, as some lack an understanding.
The Parliament has passed a bill amending various laws, such as amendments in all cases opened against top leaders, which include the President, Vice President, Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament, and Chief Justice be directed at the Attorney General.
With regards to serious accidents and other conditions, Chapter 310 recommends that an amendment is made to include a new subsection of 18A so as to allow cases filed or requests made under this law to national leaders, meaning the President, Vice President, Prime Minister, Speaker and Deputy Speaker, and Chief Justice, to be brought to the Attorney General. The aim of this amendment is regarding the matter addressing protection of key government leaders. It is important for the accused to be involved directly rather than to commit an offense and for someone else to be held. By including this section, it deals away with the meaning intended when taking an oath. Anyone who takes the oath must be made accountable for their actions. The law is not there to oppress the citizens and protect a few. It is not meant to mistreat the people. That is why we are here to protect them.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. And in international news, 105 new coronavirus cases have been confirmed in Kenya, bringing the tally to 3,094 cases. Health Cabinet Administrative Secretary Rashid Aman said that out of the new cases, 96 are Kenyans and the other 9 are foreigners.
We have discharged the highest number of patients in a single 24-hour period, we have discharged 175 patients from the various facilities who have recovered from the coronavirus disease. This brings the total number of recoveries to 1,048. We shall be failing if we do not recognize the good work of our healthcare workers, whose effort and dedication has made it possible to record these many recoveries.
Citizens of Burundi have received with a shock the death of outgoing President Pierre Nkurunziza, who, according to a government statement, died from a heart attack on June 8th this year. The government has announced a 1 week of mourning starting Tuesday for the outgoing president, who was last seen in public on Saturday watching a volleyball game in the courts in the countryside.
He was a president who showed us things we never understood as a country. Before, there was no president who could stay in long queues along other citizens in building our nation by working together with his brothers and sisters. It is indeed quite sad for a country like Burundi to lose a president like Pierre Nkurunziza. One amongst a few presidents who fought for patriotism from his people. As a president, he was pretty much close to his people. The nation has really lost a warrior.
Some Burundi refugees in Rwanda have said they are ready to go back to their country, as now they feel it is safe to return. Many of the refugees have said that they fled Burundi when President Pierre Nkurunziza announced his intention to vie for a third term.
When we heard the news of his death, I danced with joy because, honestly, he hurt a lot of people. I'm ready to go back home, although all that we are demanding for is justice. Since Nkurunziza is gone, then we hope that justice will be served to people who orchestrated riots last time.
In tonight's special report, Capital Television's Vanessa Victor and political correspondent from our media partner Dutch Welle Thomas Sparrow discuss how the surge in protests over racism globally have impacted Germany.
With the surge in protests over racism worldwide after the death of George Floyd in the United States, we turn towards Europe, in particular Germany, to see what the current global events have sparked there. Joining us now is our political correspondent, Thomas Sparrow in Berlin, from our media partner, Deutsche Welle. Thomas, there's been an anti-discrimination report released in Germany. What were the findings?
So this global series of events and the protests worldwide have sparked obviously a big reaction here as well, and many people have joined in protests in various German cities in the last few days. But what it has also sparked is a debate on racism here in the country, on discrimination based on ethnic grounds. And only a few days after those protests, this report that you mentioned has just been published, the report by the anti-discrimination agency in the country, which revealed that discrimination based on ethnic grounds has actually increased in Germany compared not only to last year but also to previous years, in particular, for example, to 2015. And what it has revealed is also the need for authorities, both at a regional and at a federal level, to tackle this issue in a much better way, not only for those who are victims of discrimination, but also when it comes to the legal proceedings and legal frameworks that are necessary to tackle this on a more consistent basis.
So what has been the reaction to the report in Germany?
Not only reaction to the report, but also to the general debate around the world. It is important to stress that for many Germans this is a very important case that has to be addressed, but a case also and a situation, we're talking about racism and discrimination, that many believe is not necessarily addressed appropriately by authorities in different parts of the country. There are many beliefs that this is something that goes well beyond only specific cases and is actually present in Germany's everyday life and affects many people in many different cities, and as such it is something that has to come with more awareness and has to come with more action. So this is also part of the reaction that we've been hearing from people who have also gone to the streets, not only to protest or to show their solidarity with what is happening in other parts of the world, but also to stress that this is a problem that is also very much present here in this country.
So an Afro census is also underway there. First off, can you tell us what is the intention behind it, and what would or could this mean for race relations in Germany?
This is all linked to the Anti-Discrimination Agency report, so we have to see them obviously as parcel of the same debate here going on in Germany about race and about discrimination and about, again, discrimination not only on ethnic grounds but in general. And there is an estimate here that around 1 million people of African descent live in Germany right now, and there is very little information on what exactly is that, what exactly that 1 million people do, or how they behave, or what kind of problems or experiences they face. So the idea behind this Afro Census project is to try and identify who lives here in Germany, specifically in this particular case, what type of experiences these people are having, whether they have been affected or not by racism or discrimination. Also, from a demographic point of view, try to understand who lives here in this country. And again, the goal behind that is not only to describe those experiences and situations, but to raise awareness so that politicians, all in all, can actually act on this information and make sure that racism can be combated here in Germany as it is in other parts of the world.
Well, thank you very much, Thomas. It's really good to see that protests in different parts of the world, is something that started in the United States, is actually having such a big impact globally.
Thank you.
And that is the end of International News. Business News follows shortly after the break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight, Tanzania Agriculture Development Bank has issued a 7.7 billion shillings loan to Kagera Cooperative Union KCU and Karagwe District Cooperative Union KDCU so that they can pay farmers for coffee sold during the 2020-2021 buying season.
I congratulate you and urge you not to have fear. We are here to support you. The aim of the government is to have strong groups which will be sustainable and economically viable. Usually, when the season ends, most of the groups are not making any profit.
Some international hotels in Dar es Salaam have started to provide services after closing business for several weeks due to coronavirus pandemic. Among hotels which have reopened for business is the Hyatt Regency.
Those elements, what you may have noticed already, is the sanitization before you enter the building, but also continuous sanitization during your stay, during the guest stay in the building. We have a training manager and a hygiene manager that are looking after potential hazards and that are continuously dealing with this matter. We also have a training program for all of our staff to train the staff basically on what has happened and how to deal with this situation.
Tanzania Revenue Authority TRA has said that many entrepreneurs in the country still have little understanding on the 10% tax payment made after starting a business, the importance of tax identification number TIN, and a timely payment of taxes.
Tulichofanya ni kuwaelimisha kuhusu hiyo kodi na kuwaomba.
We have been educating traders on the importance of tax, and I urge landlords to ask their tenants to remain with the 10% of the rent because tax is charged legally.
Mimi na washauri wamiliki wa nyumba wenye flame.
I would also advise landlords to let tenants go and pay for them the 10% tax, otherwise we should leave the tax to them.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lynn.
Welcome back, and in sports news. The National Sports Council (NSC) has organized a seminar for sports organizations which aimed at providing awareness on how sports activities should resume amid the coronavirus pandemic.
As the President insists, we also gave a guideline on how associations can make sure corona is eliminated through sports by having facilities that can protect players as well as managers when in the grounds. We met with the associations so they can give us their plans on how they can implement the program.
The Basketball Association will stop to all leagues this October to pave way for the general elections, which will be followed by the Taifa Cup in November.
We are proceeding well as the Basketball Federation. We have international competitions, and our national club championship leagues will end in September. In October, we will make way for the country's general election because we want to give this opportunity to the sports stakeholders to elect and be elected.
The 236th Merseyside Derby will take place at Goodison Park after Liverpool City Council's ground safety advisory group met on Wednesday morning and approved a safety certificate for the stadium. Here are more details.
The go-ahead, which means both Liverpool and Everton can play their remaining games on their own grounds without the need for neutral venues. Liverpool could theoretically win their first title in 30 years at Everton on 21st of June, which is why the National Chief of Football Policy recommended a switch to a venue where supporters might not be quite as tempted to congregate and celebrate in defiance of physical distancing rules. As recently as Tuesday, Southampton's St Mary's Stadium was still being suggested as a possible venue, though once the Merseyside Police and then the Liverpool Council threw their weight behind keeping the game local, most objections were overcame.
And the former Real Sociedad Vissel Kobe and Real Oviedo manager Juan Lillo has joined Manchester City as assistant coach to Pep Guardiola, a role he held under Jorge Sampaoli with Sevilla and Chile.
Lillo was in charge at the Chinese club King Dao Hung Hai until the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic, and the decision to make him Mikel Arteta's replacement at the Etihad reunites him with Guardiola, who he coached at the end of the City manager's playing career and with whom he has been close for a long time. Deeply committed to a positional game and with a reputation as a philosopher, Lillo first met Guardiola in September 1996 when the then Barcelona midfielder knocked on Oviedo's dressing room door following a match and asked to meet the man whose team had just impressed him so much. When Guardiola had first planned to join Barcelona as sporting director with presidential candidate Louis Bassat in 2003, he had decided he would appoint Lillo as manager, but they did not win the election.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Simbu. Thank you for watching and good night.